Hey everybody, this is Javier Balderramos. This is Planet Texas Podcast. I'm here with Joe Gallagher Jr. He is the founder of Apostolio. Did I say it correct?
Pastioli.
Apastioli, excuse me. And he's also the author From Bars to Jars. I wanted to bring him on so we could talk about how he changed his life. And we can also talk about his pasta, his saucy recovery, we could solely say.
That's right.
How are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. This is great. This is a honor and a privilege. Anytime I get the
Thank
chance,
you. Thank you.
to share my story. That's what it's all about.
So I wanted to ask, can you talk about what happened in prison
Oh yeah, yeah,
and how'd
absolutely.
you get
So,
there?
yeah, I was actually never incarcerated for long. I've done about 5 2-week vacations.
Yeah,
Um, but
it's time out.
the first one was major. It was an attempted murder charge in a self-defense case that took about 6 7 years to get expunged off my record.
And then I also wanted to ask you about, did you come up with this idea in prison or what was it that brought this up for you?
No, so I mean, I was right before I got arrested that first time. I was in contention for a Grammy nomination. This was 2017. I got put on a ballot for Best New Rock Artist with Big Noise Records and the Hit Cartel. And during the voting process, I got hit by a truck and had two spinal surgeries. And then my addiction kind of took off. I thought my life was over. So then, right after I was able to walk again, which is like 2 months after the accident. I was at a bar that I shouldn't have been at and trying to be a good Samaritan. I was there for 10 minutes and offered to bring this guy home that was about to drink and drive. So I went to his trailer park. He invited me in for 18-year-old bourbon. I'm trying not to drink, I'm white knuckling it. But I caved. I came inside and his roommate was irate, didn't want me in the house. And they decided that they were going to try to rob me and I happened to have a 2-inch pocket knife on me at the time, which I never carried any weapons. But here I am getting thrown around. The roommate was like 300 pounds, big, big dude. And I lost track of the other guy that I brought there. He went into another room. I thought he was going to get a shotgun or something. And anyway, I defended myself. And the guy was actually calling the police, and they showed up and charged me with attempted murder. There was blood everywhere. It was my blood because I was holding the blade, like halfway down my hand. Almost cut my finger off, actually. And I only gave the guy a little paper cut on his arm, but he didn't even need to go to the hospital or anything. I did.
What was one of the first things that you did when you actually got out of prison?
Well, my father, there was a $50,000 bond. My father bonded me out. I promised on everything that I would never get in trouble again. You know, um, and that didn't happen. Shortly after, I'm still in the throes of my addiction. Now, pain pills, alcohol, and cocaine, and pretty much anything I get my hand on. Um, and I got a DUI, reckless driving, a hit and run. Now this is over the course of like 5 6 years, and then the last charge I got was a domestic violence charge, which just broke me. I mean, I was now nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody would take my call. No one would bail me out. So I'm sitting there, and I had to surrender to God and ask for God's help, which I wasn't, a practicing Christian or anything like that up until that point.
But you are now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I found my faith in that jail cell right there. Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you about, how did this come about where you became the founder?
Yeah, so after I got out of jail, I think I did like 14 days there. Um, part of my release and everything, I had to do PTI, 26 weeks of PTI, which is pretrial intervention. And
Yeah.
at that point, all these charges are kind of stacked up on top of one another. The attempted murder charge still hasn't been dismissed or anything. So I had to do 26 weeks, and part of that was going to be going to meetings, recovery meetings. So I knew that was coming. So I just decided to go before I was even court ordered to do it. I just started going and I had somewhat of a spiritual awakening and little spiritual experiences, starting to really recover and wanting to be sober for the first time, like really, really committing to it and getting serious about it. And so about 2 months in, there was a eating speaker meeting where people could bring food, for everybody to share. So I brought some spaghetti and meatballs and some eggplant parmesan. And at this time, I can't even get a job at Walmart because of all my charges. And somebody suggested, "Hey, why don't you sell this sauce? It's fantastic." And I had never thought of doing that. I never considered it, and really didn't know what I was doing. But I did my homework, did the research, and learned all about the industry, came up with a prototype, and then went to a Piggly Wiggly and pitched it to the manager there, and he ordered 6 cases.
I mean, who really knows? Who really knows what to do at the beginning?
Right,
You
right,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
experiment.
So was it? It must have been really amazing sauce for them to be like, I want 6 cases of this.
Well, you know what's crazy? They didn't even try it or anything. I mean, they just the label kind of spoke for itself. They did say, when I told them, "Hey, I got this sauce. I'm a local guy, and I'm producing this sauce." They're like, "It better not be another barbecue sauce because they've got they got so many local barbecue sauces." They're like, "No," and I said, "No, this is a spaghetti sauce." He's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll take 6 cases." So
Okay.
okay,
Well, if you ever wanted, you can always hit up our HEBs here in Texas. They're
okay,
always looking, always looking. Tell
yeah.
you
Well,
that.
so I'm scaling the business now. So like within 6 months of doing this, we hit 15 stores, and I'm doing everything by hand, with a ladle, wrapping the labels around the jars by hand, capping them by hand, everything. Um, I can only do like 300, 400 jars a night at most. And then I still have to deliver it all over the state. I'd fill up my Honda, 20, 25 cases and go deliver it. So the more stores I got, the less time I could be in the kitchen. And, because I was a one-man operation. I'm trying to
I mean,
keep.
it's a good thing and a bad thing, right?
Right, right. So, 15 stores, that was the most I could do from there by myself. So I actually shut it down in February to scale the business, start looking for investors and stuff like that. I pitched the casting director from Shark Tank hit me up. So I'm supposed to be getting on season 18. I missed the casting call for season 17. I was kind of late in the game when I submitted my application, and I had another event with the lieutenant governor of South Carolina while the I was supposed to be in San Diego with Shark Tank. So um, yeah, and then so I've been pitching to local investors, high wealth individuals. I have an investment broker and an agent now, and working on getting this thing funded, at least temporarily, co-manufacturing, having somebody produce our products for us, according to my recipe, until I could get the Apastioli Farms funded, which is a $25 million project.
Well, I mean, you can't give the secret away, right?
Well, I mean, in this industry, you kind of have to. I mean, I don't know exactly how like Kentucky Fried Chicken did it. I think they split the recipe up in two, in half, and sent half of it to one co-packer, half of it to another. I mean, I could have done that, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I can't worry about people stealing my stuff and all that stuff. It's a nightmare trying to, manage all that.
And then I also want to talk a little bit about your book.
Yes. Yeah. So from bars to jars. So while I'm at the kitchen working overnight, it hit me that, maybe I should write a book on how to get into the food industry, because I was having so much success, with no experience really, and so I'm like, what, people should know how I did this. So I started writing, and then it dawned on me that maybe I should just go from the beginning, tell my whole story, because it's pretty captivating. I mean, it's like a movie, I got kidnapped in the
Well, it
Bahamas.
is. It is like a movie.
Yeah.
You went
So
from prison to getting out of prison, being lost, and
yeah.
now you're on the verge of being on ABC selling pasta.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was just on Fox 24 News here in Charleston last week. I mean, it's and media outlets are starting to pick up the story. LA Weekly did an article, and I just got in Southern Flavor magazine. So it's pretty cool, man. And yeah, so this book started what became now a series that we're pitching to networks. So we're like a TV series, a drama series, kind of like The Chosen meets Yellowstone.
Yeah.
you know?
She ran into Netflix a little bit. It seems like they're taking everything right now.
Yeah, so there's a few networks that, they put out an email a few weeks ago of projects they're looking for to develop, and this is right in line with what they're looking for. So I haven't made an official pitch yet, but we're working on it with producers and directors and stuff.
So was there any like point in time where you're just like, this could be bigger when it comes to your sauce?
Yeah, so that's what happened with the farm idea, right? So at first I started looking at, small piece of land. I was going to grow the crops and build like a little facility to process it, you know. And as I'm looking for these properties, I'm going out onto this land and I'm like, you know what? I could see this being a lot bigger. And then finally, I landed on a 1,700-acre farm in Adams Run, South Carolina, which is like 3 square miles. And this is like 25 minutes right outside downtown Charleston, which is a big tourism hub. So now the idea came to mind to kind of combine all these different elements that I'm doing onto this one project. So we would be staffing for veterans, people getting out of incarceration, recovering alcoholics and addicts. So we have a nonprofit arm, where we're growing the crops, harvesting them, processing them in a 40,000 square foot facility. And this land was perfect for this because all the infrastructure is already there. It's got roads and canals and water systems and electricity, plumbing, 15 massive fields already cultivated, ready to plant, so and that has sparked a lot of interest in the community because of the economical impact it will have.
So a lot of people don't actually know what is actually the Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly is actually the first grocery store chain in America, 1915. They have the patent on shopping carts and shopping lanes. Like it used to be,
Oh, really?
you would bring a list to the grocer who was like a pharmacist. He would go pull all the items and bring them out to your car. So Piggly Wiggly said, no, we're not going to do that no more. We're going to let shoppers come and put stuff in their cart and get checked out. So, but they got bought out, or they dissolved the corporation back in 2007. So now all the locations are autonomous. CNS Wholesale Grocers owns the name Piggly Wiggly, but each location is independent. So I literally can call any Piggly Wiggly. There's 500 in the United States, and they could order my product.
That's good. That's good. We need to get that over here in Texas for sure.
They're in 18 states, I believe. Yeah, I don't know if Texas is one of them, but they're scattered out all over the
I
place.
don't know, but we
Mostly
can make it
South.
happen. We can make
Huh?
it happen like magic, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
So what was the support system that you had, if you don't mind me asking?
My father, he retired. He was in the automotive paint industry, so he had a couple stores, and then he got into some franchises and ended up selling like 9 businesses about a year and a half ago. But he, no experience in the food industry either, but he's got a solid foundation for, entrepreneurialism, So he helped me get started, really on a bootstrap budget. We didn't invest hundreds of thousands of dollars like we probably should have. To do this right, you really want to go into it with a um, prepared to scale because we had no idea it was going to take off like it did. So in retrospect, I wish I had set it up so that I can scale right from the beginning. Because it kind of caused a problem when I had to shut everything down and restructure how we're doing this.
It's probably better it started that way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's necessity is the mother of invention, right? So,
Of
it,
course, of course.
yeah, so if I hadn't encountered all those problems, I wouldn't have maybe thought of the farm and all that, and which is really near and dear to my heart because of all the nonprofit stuff we'll be able to do out there, like animal rescue. We want to do goat yoga, some cool stuff.
Oh God, Coach Yoga. Yeah, they do that. They do that here in Austin. Like all these yoga places have some kind of like animal theme now.
Yeah, yeah. And my wife is big into that stuff. It's trending. Like every yoga place is doing it.
Oh,
So,
it is. It is super trendy. Like it's just kind of a. It's like where do you keep these animals? Like it's just fucking.
right, right. Yeah. So, I mean, we're gonna have plenty of space, and we're gonna do like Airbnbs and stuff like that, so people could stay there, like timeshares. You know what I mean? Do retreats, spiritual retreats, meditations, and all kinds of stuff, man.
So how did you come up with the name?
So originally, the name of this company was New Havens, which is where I'm from originally. I was from New Haven, Connecticut, and that's where my grandmother would cook Sunday sauce. You know, anytime I went over to her house, we'd be eating this sauce. Anytime we had a holiday, we're eating this sauce. But New Haven's, after I got into four stores, I had gotten a cease and desist because there's another company, Haven's Kitchen out of New Jersey, that, so I'm in that same category, that same class. I couldn't use that name anymore. So talked to my lawyer, and she's like, just come up with something that it's impossible anybody to have. So me and my wife started shooting names around for like 3 or 4 days. I was saying like a pasty, a pasta, like that. And then she's like, no, 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 Apastioli. And, a lot of these,
Bastille. Was it like Bastille?
Apastioli, yeah. Yeah. So that works, and yeah, we got the trademark now. There's nobody with a name like that because it's made up. It doesn't mean anything, really.
Well, that's a name. It means something now.
It sure does, yeah. And actually, it kind of does. If you break it down, like it's got apostle, like apostles, and this is a faith-based company, so that works. And then oli is oil in Italian.
So do you ever go back to the prison system or the jail system and go to their admin people and be like, hey, do you mind if I become one of the speakers and so forth?
Not yet. It has been an idea of mine. I want to do it. I've been going to like treatment centers and rehabs and stuff and sharing my story, but I haven't done the prison thing yet. I do want to. I think there's only one prison in South Carolina that I can do it in. So I just haven't gotten all the details yet, but it is something I want to do. Yeah.
Oh, hopefully that comes about. Hopefully that ends up working out and so forth.
Yeah, man, because like I gotta, I can't keep what I have unless I give it away. And I need to, share my story so that, God may be able to use this and give hope to somebody else who's been in a similar situation as me.
I mean, just imagine all the inmates that are out that are locked up right now that need some kind of path, some kind of like willingness in order to be better.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff that's happened to me has been through God's grace. And if it could happen for me, it could happen to anybody. It's available for anybody that seeks it, and that's really the message is seek and ye shall find.
So I wanted to ask you about the point in time that I don't know if you converted to Christianity, if you've been a Christian, or if you found God. But I wanted to ask about when was the point that you actually found God?
Yeah, so I mean, I was raised Catholic, and we didn't go every Sunday or anything like that, but I did belong to a church. I joined the choir, and something kind of traumatic happened there. I was molested sexually by one of the music director, and that really sent me down a dark path. I became really rebellious and towards anything religious. So I was like the Antichrist. For a long time, like 2 decades. But after a series of, devastating events where my self-will wasn't sufficient, to rid me of this disease, I had to, and then sitting in that jail cell, really, my back up against the wall, had nowhere else to turn but God. So once I got out, I started being open-minded to spiritual principles. Then when I got in the program, working the steps, I found a power greater than myself, and I choose to call him God and Jesus Christ. My sponsor passed away November 19th, and his services were held at this church called Nexus Point, which is it's part of the Church of the Nazarene. And if you look back, the Nazarene are a group of people. So Jesus was most rejected in the town of Nazareth, his hometown. So this church here, Nexus Point, welcomed me in, tattoos and all. I did the memorial thing, the video and the sound and the playlist for my sponsor's service. And the pastor approached me and asked me to join the church, asked if I wanted to join the praise team, and I said yes. Got baptized and really have had so many miraculous things happen since then.
That's great. That's actually pretty amazing that happened that way.
Yeah, you just, you never know, man. It's a series of divine interventions. My whole life has been like that. It's just when I think, life is over, you know, God shows up, whether I want to believe it or not. Things that are happening is really, it's God intervening.
Of course, of course. So I wanted to ask you something a little silly since we've been talking a little bit about movies and so forth. And so who would play you if they were, yeah, well, has anybody asked you that?
Yeah, it's definitely a question that's been going around.
Well, good. I want to ask the question one more time.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe James Franco, maybe Jeremy Allen White. That's who I would like to see play me. But I don't know if that will happen or not. Until this script gets developed and we start pitching it and everything, casting directors and whoever, I'm not going to be in charge of that. I mean, I
Yeah.
I even want to play some, I want to be in the film too. Give it a shot, but they're like, no, you're not going to play yourself. But friends and fans and whatever, they want me to play myself. I'm like, I mean, I'll give it a shot, but the director's like, no, no, we ain't
Yeah.
doing that.
Okay. So you should ask him, can I just be one of the guys in the background that just
Well,
shows up and
yeah,
sits there and then everybody's like,
that's what they're saying. They're saying you could be a gardener or something in the fields. You know?
yeah, that would be good. That would be a good one. Like you can be the cook. You can be the cook
All
that
right.
brings the food.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be ironic that they would just recognize you and
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's gonna be a trip, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It's making progress and there's no telling, man. It's up to God. I'm out of the results business. Whatever happens is, that's what happens.
no, we just gotta get that cheap pop in. That's really all it is.
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
really all it is.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you about how long did it take you to write your book?
7 months, give or take, and I really rushed to publish it. It's not even 100% edited. I didn't have an editor at all. I went through it a bunch of times, got it as good as I could, because I released it. It was I think May 30th is when I published it. And February 1st, I shut down the kitchen. That was my only income. So I really kicked it into high gear. Once I wasn't cooking anymore, I had to work on this book like a madman, every night, spending hours and hours and hours. So yeah, May 30th, I got it out. So I started writing back in November, you know.
No matter how many copies do you think you sold by now?
Um, I don't know, man. It's probably over 150. Not much, not much. It's not enough to live off of, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but
I mean, I was just asking, you know.
yeah, it's growing though. I have some big companies like really watching our sales metrics and stuff. Reader Link, they're very curious because um, it's a rare situation to have a food entrepreneur with a book that's not a cookbook in stores side by side with his products. So Reader Link has like 30,000 retailers that they distribute books to, you know so they're really interested in this taking off and what it can mean for the whole literature industry. I don't know even know how,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
No, no, I get it. You know, like they used to be like, hey, my story is just as popular and just as famous as my cooking.
Right. And it's kind of like this thing I'm calling omnidirectional marketing, right? So it's like I got the product brand, I got the book, and my personal brand. So and the scaling for the product is vertical, control the supply chain and go up with it. But the personal brand is kind of like a sphere going around this thing going up. So that's where the omnidirectional thing comes in because you buy the book, you read about the sauce, you buy the sauce, you read about you find the book.
Of course. And also, I wanted to ask you about your website.
Okay.
Like, what exactly is everything on there that they can actually purchase from your website?
So right now I have four different sauces, I believe, the book and some t-shirts, stuff that I've designed. And that's pretty much it. And I have a little subscription thing for prayer requests. where they get personal back behind the scenes footage and devotionals that I create. And then also Low Country Lunatics podcast that we just started. I have episodes of that show on the website as well.
Is that on YouTube? So is there a way that we can all subscribe to it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of them.
Oh, good. Send the links, and then we can always add all that onto there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's fun. So it's me and this guy, New York Nick, another recovering alcoholic addict. Me and him are just bantering back and forth. We have no idea what we're going to talk about. We press record, and there's no telling what what we're going to say.
What comes out of your mouth?
But it's funny. You know,
So, is there anything else that you would like to add before we actually leave off?
just if anybody's struggling right now, and they need help recovering from alcoholism, reach out. My number is public. I take all my calls. I answer all the emails, anything that comes through online or social media, I'm answering. If somebody needs help, please reach out.
Oh, good, good. That way I could call you whenever I'm in South Carolina.
There you go. Yes.
So, but thank you, Joe. And so everybody knows all the links and descriptions of Joe, his website, his book on Amazon. Can they purchase it on Amazon? Can they
Yeah.
purchase your
Yep. Yep. The
that's
From Bars to Jars is on Amazon and also barnesandnobles.com, walmart.com, target.com, a bunch of them.
so are they able to buy your pastries, excuse me, your salsa? Are they able to buy everything that they can on Amazon? Is that also on the grocery list?
I don't think so. It might be. It was at one point. I don't know if I took it down or not. The classic Italian red sauce is probably the only sauce available on Amazon. But if you just go to apastioli.com, I've got everything up there.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.